Hi, it's Bryony here from the Somatherapy Collective, and I wanted to share today something that I've been working on and kind of distilling and being with and processing. And being a survivor of abuse and using all of the tools that I actually use in my work with clients as well as students, to teach them how to have long-term healing when they've experienced oppression and violence, and particularly abuse. That this idea, particularly in the spiritual field, about forgiveness, and I've been really playing with this word, what forgiveness actually is, because in my experience and in my work, I don't think forgiveness is necessarily the outcome or what we all want to work towards when we have had these experiences and we want to heal and honor our own healing and our own system and our own uniqueness, diversity in our own system. So I'm kind of leaning, and I'd love to hear, your take on this as well. So feel free to comment. I'm leaning in this idea that forgiveness, as a word, as a construct, as a colonized, whitewashed spiritual, like used in a lot of wellness and spiritual practices and ways of living, is like this kind of out of the body forward concept, ideology, particularly attained state of healing or getting through healing or getting towards. And my invitation here, and what I have been really wondering, because forgiveness for me, I permeate self-compassion and self-worth and compassion for others and service. Though forgiveness for me has always been, the whole concept has always been a really big sticking point. Now, I preference where I'm at right now in my journey, and I want to make it really clear that what I'm sharing here is an ongoing, unfolding, deep curiosity and reflection. It's not finite. It's on a spectrum. And this is also too what I'd like to centralize in when we are learning and growing and investigating and being with and meeting, that it shifts and changes. This idea that it has to be one way, or that we have to attain one state because they said so, or something said so, or, is going to be, it's going to change, it's going to shift. So this is not set in stone. This is an idea. This is kind of like something that's flowing with me at the right now that I'm sharing with you. That the idea of forgiveness, it is kind of a forward, out of the body kind of future trajectory and about the other person. When a rupture occurs, when an experience where there's been trauma, where there's been abuse, where there's been a fracture in the system, a fracture in the safety, a fracture in the environment, a fracture in the relationship, in whatever form that takes, I'm starting to feel and shift and be with the idea that it's not forgiveness that needs to be met here in how do I forgive, how do I move past, how do I forgive you, how do I forgive myself, how do I move into that space of forgiveness, because that kind of ideology is love and compassion. That the actual meeting of a rupture, a split in the environment, in the relationship, in yourself, in your life, in your timeline, is actually that we come to it with repair. That it's not forgiveness that we should be focusing on at this point, when those really painful things are here and those experiences have happened, or we're in those experiences and we've come out the other side and we're like, so where do we go from here? How do I forgive you? Will I forgive you? I need to forgive you. Should I forgive you? It's really about the repair process for me. And what I'm saying is that when we show up to the needs of what's happened in the rupture, in the experience in the body, it is the repair. It is, what do I need right now? We don't need to be futuring or putting forgiveness out there towards the other to fix what was broken, or to try to get back to what was there originally. When there's a rupture, when there's a split, it can be reformed. It doesn't have to be reformed. It can be reformed, but it will not be reformed in the same way that it was before the split, because the split happened because the integrity of the structure was already splintering, was already stretched, was already under stress and strain. It had to break, it had to rupture for something new to be formed. Now, it's a nuance, particularly when we're dealing with abuse survivors or abusive behaviours. And I want to really say there's a nuance there, that it doesn't necessarily apply for all, situations. So please don't take everything I say and fit it into where you're at right now with your experience, but it's just an invitation for you to play with the idea of pushing towards forgiveness, and this idea of forgiving somebody after they've hurt you and forgiving yourself feels like it's an out of the body experience. And when we move to the rupture and we move to the experience in the body, then what do we need to do for that? It's a repair process. What do we need to do for our system to feel safe, to feel settled, to feel held and supported, and scaffolded in this space right now, in order to know where to move to next? We don't need to be futuring or placing ourselves out of our body and fixing something with the other person to sidestep pain, to sidestep the discomfort and the grief and the anger that you could be feeling in your body. So I'd really love a reflection and curiosity and your comments of how this lands for you. Is this idea of when there's rupture, that it's not forgiveness that we should be moving towards. It should be repair within our own system, and then repair in the dynamic, and the environment, and what that looks like is going to look very different when we have moved to repair the rupture in our own system, and when we tend to scaffold, reorient to the surrounds, reorient to ourselves, reorient from the lens that has been changed from that experience. I'd love your thoughts, and absolutely, if this is kind of something that really resonates with you, DM me and let's get a clarity session booked in and see whether or not this is something that you would like to explore in any of the ruptures or any of the spaces and places in yourself that you have been trying to move through or deeply heal, and just kind of struggling to actually be deeply grounded and moving towards this kind of sense in the body of anchoring and groundedness and presence and support and love and capacity and strength in your own system from that experience, because that's really important. That's the most important, that you can reconnect within your own system and rebuild your system from a huge rupture that you have experienced.